My name's Elaine Miller and I'm 42 years old. I'm a mum to 3 children and I've had sensitive bladder for about 8 years. I first noticed that I had sensitive bladder after the birth of my first baby. At its worst, I was having accidents, like frank accidents, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and the stress incontinence, so small leaks, was probably at least 7 times a day. Anytime I laughed or coughed or sneezed. The laundry, there's quite heavy loads, so anytime I was doing heavy lifting, which with 3 little kids was all the time, I was wetting myself. I find that when I'm out that I've developed habits about being able to source where the nearest toilet is, and I have a sort of radar for how many people are going in and out of the toilet. I changed the style of what I was wearing. I went into the mum's uniform. Anything that covered your bum was fine because then there was no possibility of anybody seeing that I had a pad. And I always had an enormous mum bag so that I could carry my wardrobe around with me. It's a bit depressing worrying that that's what your future's going to be. You don't need to live like that. I felt very alone because other women don't talk about it, and I knew fine well that they all had stories that were similar. They don't need to have their life being limited in any way. One incident that I remember very clearly was the one that prompted me to start to do something constructive about this. My neighbour caught me at the door. I was bursting to get to the toilet and I was trying to be polite and engage in the conversation, and I was absolutely fine until I put my key in the door to unlock the door, which is a common thing, that women are fine until they get a trigger and then game's a bogey. So it's quite embarrassing completely wetting yourself. The one person that I've not been comfortable talking about this with is my husband. There are some things that he just doesn't really need to know about me, and for a long time I felt that I had the potential to grow into being a smelly old lady. When I had to go and buy pads for the first time, I felt okay about it because it was a practical problem that had to be addressed. It was quite a lonely experience because there was nobody else in that aisle. The problems that I had with the products that I tried initially was primarily they were bulky and they were ill-fitting. I'm pleased to see that Always Discreet products coming to market. They are much thinner than anything else that I've tried before, and I have tried them all. Certainly using pads helps because it gives you more confidence. I'm very impressed with the amount of volume that they can contain and that they're very comfortable. And the other thing is that they don't smell. Because it's got this odour lock, then that takes care of that worry. The discreet packaging, that's going to be helpful. The first thing that I would advise people to do would be to find out what their triggers are. Often people find that if they're drinking a lot of caffeine, it's going to increase the amount of accidents and irritation that you have. One of the things that you can try is standing on your tiptoes, because the nerves that supply the muscles that push your foot down also supply your pelvic floor. Pelvic floor exercises are easy to do once you get the hang of them. The current advice is to do a contraction for a count of 10 seconds, because then you get this inhibitory effect. And then do 10 quick flicks in a row. The muscles should be able to contract strongly so that you are able to hold on, and also contract quickly and then relax for when you cough or sneeze or laugh. They should kick in. One of the things that I feel very passionately about is that we should talk about this. I think that it's similar to the way that menstruation was dealt with 30 years ago. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to get your period. It was embarrassing that anybody was having to go and buy sanitary towels. And if people are encouraged to talk about it, then they're encouraged to seek help, and then you can share tips. And incontinence is such a common problem, there's no need for it to be a taboo. I'm very impressed with the Always Discreet products. Stopping doing things because you're frightened about having an accident is a problem. I think I have now become the woman who doesn't stop talking about incontinence.